In 1995, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie was released in theaters. The reason why it's Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is because from 1993 to 96, there was a hit TV show running titled Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Yep, one and the same. And the movie, which was made between seasons 2 and 3, had the majority of the same cast and crew working on it. This decision confused a lot of fans at the time too, and rightfully so. However, now it seems very obvious from a business point of view that the production house and the makers were just trying to leverage the popularity and the fan base the TV show already had, and they wanted to use this momentum to take the franchise to theaters, because why not? Well, for those wondering, the franchise has lived on in different storylines one way or another, but this 1995 film is well remembered by fans. It wasn't just popular at the time, but important to the Power Rangers media lore in general. The Power Rangers were one of the biggest franchises of the 90s, and it really got us thinking. There was a lot of weirdness surrounding this movie, and why don't we bring you some trivia about it? So, 20 insane facts about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie. Here we go. Did the movie become part of the TV show continuity? Despite featuring most of the same beloved cast and taking place during the years of the original run of the TV series, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie is not actually officially considered part of the show's canon continuity. This film was mainly created as a standalone theatrical event to promote the brand of Power Rangers and expand the franchise beyond its television medium. This creative decision allowed the movie to tell such a story without feeling too restricted by the existing lore and the plot lines of the series. This separation is quite obvious when you compare key but similar aspects between the TV show and the movie. One such instance is when and how the Rangers receive their ninja powers. In the film, their new abilities are a result of a quest to the distant planet of Phaedos after Ivan Ooze destroys the command center and Zordon's energy tube. This storyline, while feeling bigger and bolder with its enhanced special effects, easily contradicts the events of the 4-part miniseries called Ninja Quest in Season 3 of the TV show. In the TV version, the Rangers' new powers come from a different source, that is, a being called Ninjor. Now, the film's independent nature also led to various inconsistencies. Characters like Ivan Ooze and his pig companion Mordant are exclusive to the movie and never appear in the TV show. Even the designs of the Ranger costumes, the command center, and Zordon himself differ quite a bit from their counterparts on TV. But in contrast, the second film, Turbo, a Power Rangers movie, is fully integrated into the show's continuity. And now, the original Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie remains a different universe, which provides an alternate storyline about how the Rangers acquired their ninja powers, thus making this whole narrative a unique and non-canonical adventure in the franchise's history. What city was the movie filmed in to double as Angel Grove? Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie was a clear departure from the TV series, not just in terms of its look, but also its filming location. Due to scheduling and financial constraints, the movie was shot primarily in Sydney, Australia, with the city's unique landscape enhancing the fictional Angel Grove. Don't forget that this movie was made possible with the help of John Landau, a Fox executive who would later become known for producing films like Titanic and Avatar. Landau was the one who secured the necessary filming clearances on short notice, and as a result, the film is filled with subtle and not so subtle nods to its Australian setting. Sharp-eyed viewers can spot a right-hand drive car in a scene, which is the standard in Australia. Along with that, numerous Sydney landmarks are prominently featured. The city's monorail and the Centrepoint Tower, which serves as the film's key setting in its climax for Ivan Ooze's lair, are very easy to spot. In a clever move to save on production costs, the filmmakers even found a creative way to get extras for the final celebration scene. They placed an ad in a local Sydney newspaper where they invited fans to visit the fireworks show at Darling Harbour with the Power Rangers. Funnily, the makers took this opportunity of a crowd gathering by essentially turning the event into a massive and free public scene for the film. New action sequences for the movie. Unlike the TV show, which famously connected American shot scenes with action footage from the Japanese Super Sentai series, this movie was the first Power Rangers project to use 100% original material. Every single action sequence, from the Ranger fights to the Zord battles, was filmed and choreographed specifically for this movie. There were new sequences created to showcase the Rangers battling Ivan Ooze and his powerful creations, such as the Ectomorphicon Titans, which were also a unique concept to the film. The decision to create fresh new footage not only gave the film a more polished look, but also, on a creative level, allowed them to significantly redesign the Ranger suits and Zords. This set it apart as a true standalone project with its classic style of action specifically tailored to its plot. Which characters, as well as cast members, had to be recast between the series and the movie? The Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie saw a notable set of changes in the cast from the TV series. The original Red, Yellow, and Black Rangers, portrayed by Austin St. John, Thuy Trang, and Walter Jones respectively, didn't reprise their roles due to a contract dispute with the show's producers, which unfortunately also led to their departure from the TV series. Now, their movie counterparts, Rocky, Aisha, and Adam, were played by Steve Cardenas, Karen Ashley, and Johnny Young Bosch. But an even more complicated recasting situation surrounded the character of Dulcea, the powerful warrior who gives the Rangers their ninjetti powers. The role was initially cast with Australian actress and model Gabrielle Fitzpatrick, but she was forced to leave the production after being diagnosed with an ovarian cyst. Right after, the producers quickly hired a replacement who was an up-and-coming actress named Mariska Hargitay to film all of Dulcea's scenes. This included an important 12-minute sequence which was filmed with Hargitay that showed the Rangers staying and training at Dulcea's home on the planet Phaedos. However, when Fitzpatrick made a full recovery and was recast, all of Hargitay's filmed scenes were completely deleted from the final cut. This meant that the entire sequence, which included the Rangers learning how to use their ninjetti powers, was removed. This left fans wondering about the missing scenes, even though a brief glimpse of them can be found on the movie's DVD special features. Who played Ivan Ooze, and why is it notable? Paul Freeman, the veteran actor who's best known for his role as the deceiving archaeologist named Belloc in Indiana Jones' Raiders of the Lost Ark, took on the role of the lead antagonist, Ivan Ooze. This casting was indeed notable as it propelled him into another iconic franchise, and by having on-screen rivalries against fan-favorite protagonists, from facing off against Indiana Jones to battling the Power Rangers. But in spite of his established career, Freeman admitted that he had never heard of the Power Rangers when he was first offered the part, which he went on to play with a distinct American accent despite being British. Beyond his on-screen performance, Freeman's likeness was used for merchandising, with a small tub of Ivan's Ooze toy slime which featured his face on the lid. Interestingly, while the Power Rangers cast received a modest salary of $50, Freeman's salary was significantly higher, which acts as a testament to his established status in the industry compared to the then unknown young actors. Dulcea's backstory cut. In the original script for the movie, the character of Dulcea had a much more detailed backstory that was ultimately cut from the final film. Initially, she was meant to be the last surviving member of an alien race called the Nethadians, who were responsible for creating the ninjetti powers. This backstory would have been revealed later in a deleted scene where the Rangers rested in her compound on the planet Phaedos. In this scene, Dulcea was to explain her connection to both Zordon and Ivan Ooze. According to the script, she and Zordon were both members of a group called the Order of Melodon, a band of young warriors who had defeated and imprisoned Ivan Ooze centuries ago. After their victory, she returned to Phaedos and lost all contact with Zordon. Additionally, Dulcea had a green anteater-like pet named Snoggle who communicated in an alien language only she could understand. But now, removing these scenes meant that Dulcea's history and deep connection to the central conflict of the film were never explored, and this left her character's motivations a lingering mystery to the audience. Why do the Ranger suits look different in the movie? The Ranger suits in the movie were completely redesigned to look more aesthetic and cinematic. Instead of the simple spandex suits used in the TV show, the film's costumes were more elaborate and high-tech. They were made from PVC and metal plating. This gave them a more theatrical appearance. However, this upgrade came at a cost for the cast. That's because the new suits were really hefty, with each weighing approximately 40 pounds, which would lead to physical difficulties during filming. Amy Jo Johnson, who played Kimberly, specifically experienced severe back pain as a result of her heavy costume. The pink Ranger suit in the film also lacked the skirt that was a staple of her television outfit, but the physical strain wasn't limited to the Rangers. Peta Marie Rickson, who acted in the Alpha 5 costume, faced a different challenge. Her suit was so overly compact and lacked ventilation that air had to be pumped into it using a fish tank's air pump to ensure she could even breathe. These new suits also included details not seen on the show, such as a scope attached to Rocky's helmet and also headlights on Aisha's. These changes, while visually impactful, ended up making the filming process a physically exhausting experience for the cast, who were reportedly overworked already. What happened to Mordant the pig in later Rangers canon? Mordant, the warthog henchman and sidekick to Goldar, is a character unique to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie and has no presence in the television show's official storyline. As we know, the 1995 film is a standalone story that exists in its separate continuity, and hence, it mostly ignores the events of the TV show. As such, Mordant's destiny within the movie's narrative isn't considered relevant to the ongoing Power Rangers universe, but during the movie, Mordant acts as a comic relief chief villain. Much like Babu and Squat from the TV show, Mordant's primary role is to be a talkative companion to Goldar, but most notably, he briefly switches his allegiance from Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa to Ivan Ooze after Ooze imprisons the two in a snow globe. But a scene very late in the film shows Mordant and Goldar in Zed's throne room enjoying their temporary freedom, only to be confronted by Zed and Rita, who seem to have successfully made their escape. While the scene implies that they might be in a lot of trouble for their betrayal, the character of Mordant is never seen or mentioned again in any Power Rangers media that follows. Was the movie's Power Rangers theme song the same as the TV's? The film's iconic theme song, Go Go Power Rangers, was a fresh, re-recorded version of the track heard on the TV show. Composer Ron Wasserman's original theme was given an interesting upgrade for the big screen, where we can listen to the more orchestral sound heard on TV being replaced by a heavier metal-sounding rockstar-like composition. This new version had the same lyrics but sounded much more aggressive. It was performed by a supergroup of popular musicians who went by the name the Power Rangers Orchestra. This collaboration included popular artists like Eric Martin, the frontman of Mr. Big, Tim Pierce on guitars, and the former drummer of Guns N' Roses, Matt Sorum. This new-sounding track featured a completely new opening and a different guitar solo, which made it distinct from the TV series theme. The success of this movie version of the theme song resulted in its use in other Power Rangers media as well. A variation of it, with the word power replaced by alien, was used as the theme song for the Mighty Morphin Alien Rangers miniseries. This heavy rock reinterpretation also inspired the theme for the 2017 rebooted Power Rangers movie, thus proving its lasting impact and popularity. What prop from the show made a cameo in the movie? The movie aimed to update how the series looked before translating it to the big screen, and this included a redesigned version of the Power Morphers. However, a brief cameo from the original prop was included as a tribute to the TV show. During the film's transformation sequence, the original Power Morphers from the TV series can be seen for a brief moment before the newer, sleeker-looking versions appear. These new movie Morphers also seem to feature multiple differences in their design, such as they were entirely silver-plated and the Power Rangers text, which was initially seen bordering the coin, was removed altogether. Along with that, the lightning bolts on the edge and the buckles were recolored to match each Ranger's specific color. Additionally, unlike the case in the TV show, the movie's Morphers were never shown to be opening during the scenes of transformation, possibly suggesting that the act of opening them wasn't required to morph as per the film's narrative. But this brief nod to such a classic prop, while including an updated design of it, turned out to be a clever way to acknowledge the show's roots while establishing a fresh new visual element for the movie. Introduction to blood for the first time in Power Rangers. For the first time in franchise history, the Mighty Morphin movie introduced a vivid glimpse of blood. This marked a significant step away from the TV series' strict guidance to steer away from explicit violence. Although the show featured plenty of combat fights with punches and kicks, it cautiously steered clear of showing any graphic injuries. However, in the film, a notable scene occurs when a stone gargoyle comes to life and starts attacking Tommy, the White Ranger. As the gargoyle slashes him, his suit is torn, and the two faint. As a result, red cuts are visible on his chest. While the cuts are presented as dry and any added effect is minimal, this was a deliberate move by the filmmakers to give the movie a more serious and mature tone for its theatrical release. This moment became a point of discussion among fans at the time, but rightly highlighted the subtle but key differences between the movie and the TV show. The crew's decision to show blood in such a subtle way reflected their careful approach, which likely stemmed from concerns about the reactions parents would have to shown violence on screen, something that the show was already criticized for. Which Ranger actors performed their stunts? Well, most of the stunt work was handled by a dedicated team of professional stuntmen and stuntwomen. A few of the Ranger actors surprisingly performed their stunts. Johnny Young Bosch, who played Adam, the Black Ranger, went ahead and took on all of his ninja suit stunts after his assigned stunt double, Danny Stallcup, broke his leg during training. And then, Jason David Frank, the White Ranger, also decided to feel motivated by Johnny and performed his stunts as well. The martial arts and physical training background of the cast also allowed them to perform certain scenes themselves. In a memorable anecdote from the set, Jason David Frank was tasked with kicking a stuntman who was on a wire just to send him flying backwards. When the stuntman asked Frank to kick him harder, Frank put so much force into it that he knocked the stuntman unconscious. Additionally, most of the morphed action that a group of uncredited stunt performers took on earned them the nickname Ranger actors from the crew. This team included Hien Nguyen as the White Ranger, Sophia Crawford as the Pink Ranger, and Stuart Kwan as the Red Ranger, just to name a few, from a whole team who ensured the dangerous action sequences were executed safely. Rat monsters never battled the Power Rangers? During the production of the movie, an original plan to feature rat monsters was scrapped due to concerns about their quality. The initial script asked Ivan Ooze to use his magic on ordinary rats by transforming them into horrifying creatures for the Power Rangers to battle. However, producer Haim Saban and others at Saban Entertainment felt that the rat monster suits seemed a little low budget and didn't look cinematic enough for a commercial film. As a result, the rat monsters were replaced by the Ooze Men, who were the purple-looking, gooey creatures that Ivan Ooze ultimately creates in the movie. While the rat monsters were cut from the film, their story didn't end there. Rather than being discarded forever, the creature suits were later briefly brought back for the TV series. They appeared in the episode called Return of the Green Ranger, which was a 3-part story arc where they were a new type of monsters for the Rangers to fight. It was a clever way to utilize the pre-made suits, which were quite expensive, and it also meant that these specific rat monsters became an exclusive addition to the American version of the Power Rangers franchise. Visor change reversed. A surprising creative decision during the filming of the movie was a plan to have the Rangers appear without their visors on their helmets in certain action scenes. Here, the production team initially believed that exposing the actors' faces would allow them to showcase more expression, especially in scenes that require emotions. However, this approach was quickly identified as a mistake, and rightfully so. The very core concept of the Power Rangers is that their morphed identities are anonymous, and that they were a united fighting force with identities that were supposed to be concealed. Fans also widely criticized the decision by pointing out that it undermined the literal idea of having a secret identity. Soon realizing their error, the crew made the crucial decision to reshoot the action sequences. As a result, the visors were added back to the helmets, and the final version of the film restored the iconic, fully covered look that fans always expected. How was Zordon different in the movie from the TV show? The cinematic version of Zordon in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie wasn't like his television counterpart. In the TV show, Zordon was portrayed as a giant with a disembodied head floating in a tube of energy, with his voice provided by Bob Manahan and his body portrayed by David Fielding. However, for the film, the same character was given a much more physical presence. Zordon was physically played out by actor Nicholas Bell. He portrayed Zordon's full body, seemingly aging, with his face projected into the iconic energy tube. Bob Manahan reprised his voice role from the series, providing the familiar tone and cadence. Now, the film's plot further differentiated this version of Zordon by depicting him as a man in a time capsule that gifted him agelessness. But when his tube is shattered by Ivan Ooze, Zordon begins to age and weaken at an accelerated rate, and this sets up the film's central conflict. This was an obvious contrast to the TV show, where Zordon's existence was purely based on his being within the tube and his eventual death in the later seasons, which came from the tube being destroyed and his energy being released to save the universe. What was the original plan for Bulk and Skull? Bulk and Skull, the comedic duo from the TV series, were initially planned to have a much larger role in the movie, but many of their scenes were cut in the editing phase. In the original shooting script, Bulk and Skull, played by Paul Schreier and Jason Narvey respectively, were set to respond to a flyer that simply said "Help Wanted," which would lead to them becoming reluctant and oblivious assistants for Ivan Ooze. Those scenes that were cut out would have shown them working in a chemical plant under Ooze's mind control, only to be freed later by a friend of the Rangers named Fred. These deleted scenes were part of a larger subplot that was initially planned, which showcased Ivan Ooze's slow and gradual brainwashing of the adult population of Angel Grove. While the finished film only hints at this event, the original script featured numerous moments of Ooze, under the disguise of a friendly wizard, recruiting adults. A box office disappointment. Despite being based on a massively popular franchise, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie performed disappointingly at the box office. Although its worldwide box office collections were $66.4 million on a mere $15 million budget, which made it profitable, returns were far lower than what was anticipated for a film tied to such a cultural phenomenon. And the primary reason for its underwhelming display was the intense competition it faced at the box office. Released in June 1995, the film went up against heavyweights in the cinematic world that dominated theaters that summer. It simply couldn't compete with major commercial releases like Batman Forever, Apollo 13, and Disney's Pocahontas, all of which were able to capture the attention and wallets of the audience, mainly the younger demographics. On top of that, the Mighty Morphin movie received average to poor reviews from critics, apparently because of its cheesy dialogue, uninspiring performances, and odd-looking CGI effects. This negative reception from audiences and critics contributed to the film's lackluster theatrical run, debuting at a disappointing 4th place at the box office and also failing to live up to the franchise's full potential on the big screen. The celebrities almost cast. The production of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie had a star-studded list of actors who were initially considered for key roles. For the villainous Ivan Ooze, several big names were on the table. In addition to the eventual casting of Paul Freeman, actors like Christopher Walken, Rowan Atkinson, Tim Curry, and Christopher Lloyd were all considered for the part. The list even included Phil Collins, Danny DeVito, Bob Hoskins, and Dennis Hopper, who were on the radar of the producers, who ideally wanted to cast a well-known actor in the role. And the part of Dulcea also had some well-known contenders, with both Jennifer Connelly and Denise Richards being considered. There was even a future star considered for the character of Fred Kellman, the young boy who helps the Rangers, who's none other than Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who seemed to be very close to being a part of this film. Marvelous verdict! And that's our video for today. We took a stroll in the nostalgia garden as we revisited the 1995 Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie and got to know 20 interesting facts about the movie, including the Power Rangers canon and how it played out considering the timing of its release, with the film clashing with the TV series that was still ongoing. We learned a bunch about the filmmaking process, including the casting and the music, and the costume issues and the contractual disputes, as well as some fascinating behind-the-scenes drama that's been covered in this video. As always, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like it, share it with your friends, and comment if you're a fan of the Power Rangers. Then enlighten us by mentioning what your favorite Power Rangers movie, TV show, or series was. We're always looking for ideas for new videos. Finally, don't forget to subscribe to Marvelous Videos for more such marvelous content. Until next time, thanks for watching, stay safe out there, and have a marvelous day.